Hey guys, this is Bridget and I'm here in Maui, Hawaii, and today I wanted to talk about divine feminine, divine masculine, and the balance between them. Now, first and foremost, we know that the masculine has taken over the feminine for thousands of years, and it's the resurgence of the feminine, and we're taking back our freedom, taking back our rights to speak, to work, to express in whatever way that we desire. And that's been happening more and more over the decades, and it's becoming very prevalent. There's still a lot of ways to go, but it's really going. But now what's happening that I'm seeing, this is a point that I'm gonna kind of bring up. I don't know if it'll trigger anyone, but it's like a pendulum swinging, right? We've swung really far into the masculine with no feminine, and now we're like swinging really far into the feminine, where a lot of women, a lot of people are like, it's all about the goddess and men don't matter. Like, it's actually smashing out the masculine. And I'm really not for that at all, because that's not integration. We have the masculine, we have the feminine within both of us, within each of us. And it's really about coming to balance with both. Now, I know that we have to swing on the pendulum to the feminine to get there, but it's really, we can go faster and we can become more integrated and not just become all feminist and throw out the men altogether. And so right now, there's a lot's happening, right, in our world, and there's these women going around as like these goddesses, and like, the feminine is the only thing that can save our world now. And that idea really turns me off. I'm the ultimate proponent of the feminine and of Mother Gaia, the Mother Goddess, like what's behind me, what I am in and immersed in right now. I am such a big advocate for that. But the key is to integrate both and to really honor the masculine. And I think, in a way, like, to really become the feminine, we have to understand the masculine. And a lot of this idea of the feminism is actually triggered from masculine energy. So a lot of the people like fighting for the freedom of women and having this voice are coming at it from a very masculine angle, which is ironic because we're actually working to become more feminine. And feminine energy is very compassionate, it's very understanding, it's very all-embracing, all-encompassing. And so really, as we move forward more and more into our power, to move from it, move into it with real feminine energy is going to be part of the key to actually getting what we want. And I've been reading this book called The Queen's Code, and it's epic. I'll probably do a whole nother video on it, and I'll put the link in the description. Any woman on earth should read it, because one of the things that's happened in this transition is that we've coined men, and our programming around men is that men are retarded, men are stupid, men destroy everything, they can't do anything right, like all these psycho belief systems. And what the book does is it kind of retrains and reprograms, puts a new perspective in our hearts, in our minds, saying that men ultimately, at their core, truly want and desire to love, to be intimate, to take care of the feminine, and to nurture the feminine. And that's something that I've never heard before. It's something that I've always known within myself, but I've never heard it articulated in the way that this book is articulating it. And a lot of, say, like the Tony Robbins seminar stuff and the modern sexuality energy dynamics is talking about polarity, because in attraction you need the balance of the masculine and the feminine for there to actually be a charge between a male and a female to, you know, make it exciting. And so what's happening is, you know, in today's world, it's like, oh, the women, we need to be empowered and have our own jobs, have our own freedom. But that actually makes us masculine, and then, oh crap, we're masculine, and then we can't actually attract a masculine man. We emasculate the men, and then it's just this like balance polarity switch that just totally screws everything up, and it's not working. So I've talked and heard about this a lot in the New Age movement. You know, Tony Robbins is a big proponent, like I said, where he's talking about the women coming back into the feminine, coming back into that space, and then it makes the man have space. It gives him space to actually be the man that takes care of and provides. And that taking care of and provision can not only be for the individual, but it can be for the collective. The man, think about this. This is a good belief. The man can actually provide and wants to provide nurture and wholeness to earth. Have you ever heard that before? I've never heard that before. And these are ideas that I really want to get into the collective. We can feed it whatever we want, and that's a beautiful seed to plant. And I've seen Owen's videos, RSD, Real Social Dynamics. He's like, talks about pickup and dating and stuff. But go watch some of his videos about his workshops with men and watch the men in them. It's so beautiful. Men really want to change. They really want to be helpful. They really want to care. And we just don't give them a chance, you know? It's like this wounding is so deep. And I noticed that actually last night at a concert I was in Maui here, and these beautiful feminine women, very empowered, were talking about, you know, the women's rights and how we've been like persecuted for being, you know, witches in the past and all these things that have happened to women. And we have to go through that. We have to own that. We have to own that we have been suppressed, that we have been pushed down. And I understand that more than anyone, growing up in a very religious Mormon culture where my voice, my expression, my sexuality, like those things aren't even concepts. Like they're not allowed at all. So that is in my genetics, it's in my lineage programming to not be heard. And as well as just even my past lives, being like killed as a witch. That was one of my first past lives that I remembered. So I get it. I get it. And once you've acknowledged it, once you've stepped into that, dude, it's time to let it go. There's a point where you have to let it go so that the new thing can come in. And as they were talking about it last night at the concert and singing about it so passionately, it's out of me. Like, I think this is like the last remnants of it in this, making this video. It's like releasing the final straw where I'm like, dude, I don't agree with these old programs. And there's transitionary programs, transitionary beliefs like fighting for our rights and fighting for our voices, which is beautiful, but they're transition. They're not the ultimate goal where we're just like fighting and marching as women. That's not what we ultimately want as women. What we want as women is to be in this waterfall and just like soak in the infinity of divine nurture and come from that place and live from that place and be honored from that place of creativity and expression in whatever form it comes from, and to be super received and adored and taken care of by the masculine is ultimately what we're seeking. So we really need to keep our eyes set on our true intentions, what we really desire from a core place and not a wounded place. So I invite you to look at in yourself as a woman, where in yourself are you emasculating men? And because I had heard all the stuff about not emasculating men so that it didn't ruin sexuality, I've been very aware of, say, like, if you're in a group and you're like with your partner, I'm sure you've seen this situation, okay? A couple, an older couple, a younger couple, whatever, that the woman's like, oh, Ernie, you can't do that, you know, or like the woman is like, oh, dear one, and like puts them down, and it's weird. And I see it a lot. It's very prevalent in most relationships that the woman like emasculates the man. And the reason she does that is because she's scared of a man's power, because a man's power could mean that she could get raped, that she could be vulnerable and not be taken care of. But at a certain point, we have to go halfway and meet the men and give them our trust. I mean, they can earn it, but we have to give it, and we can't just push them down and think that's going to make us safe, because safety also comes in what we really want, getting what we want. So there's that. So just look in yourself as to where you may be emasculating men, not only in your personal relationships, but in general, like how you perceive men. And go buy The Queen's Code, that book. If you use my link below, I get $1 for every purchase. I don't care if you don't. But just go buy it, read it, take it in. And as far as men, I really hope that men are watching this video, because this honestly is, as maybe even more so, a prayer for the men and like an honoring of you, because I love you. Like, men are incredible, and women, we're getting it, you know, we're getting together and we're like fighting for it. And so I know that we'll be taken care of, because we have this fighting strength that I hope turns more feminine. But more so, the men at this point need just as much honoring. And if anyone's ever talked to a man that's especially younger, they would know that these men coming in, my age and younger, are so sensitive, are so beautiful. And if anything, they're more feminine, you know? There's masculine and feminine in each of us. Honoring their feminine so that they can come into even more of their masculine, interestingly enough. But all ages, you know, we have to honor all generations, and it's time to repattern this whole thing. So the point is that we're coming into this place of balance, of masculine and feminine within us, individually, in our relationships, in our collective, and it's up to each of us to choose the beliefs and the programs and the ways of treating each other that are really going to bring us to that point. And this is it, you know, like we get to choose if we become like masculine women, like fighting for our rights, or if we really come into full balance with all aspects of ourselves. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Go please read that book. Go look at men. See how you perceive men. See how you perceive women. If you're a man watching this, like, do you like push down your woman, or like what beliefs and programs do you have around women? And together we can just continue this conversation, because it's a big one. But I just wanted to at least start it here in this beautifully, truly feminine place and honor the masculine. There's Patrick right there. I needed a masculine in this video to honor it. If you're watching this on Facebook, please share with anyone who may find this helpful. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and share. And I'll be back with more videos. And if you have any additional topics or triggerings that come up with watching this, comment below, and we'll continue this conversation, because it's a juicy one. Mahalo and aloha from Hawaii.